The Castle, written by Edwin Muir. A castle is a large building with strong walls built in the past by a king for protection against attack. This poem consists of 6 stanzas. The first 3 stanzas talk about the strength of the castle. The last 3 talks about its fall. So I'm going to read the 6 stanzas. All through that summer at ease we lay, and daily from the turret wall we watched the mowers in the hay, and the enemy half a mile away, they seemed no threat to us at all. For what we thought had we to fear? With our arms and provender, load on load, our towering battlements tire on tire, and friendly allies drawing near on every leafy summer road. Our gates were strong, our walls were thick, so smooth and high, no man could win a foothold there, no clever trick could take us dead or quick. Only a bird could have gotten. What could they offer us for bait? Our captain was brave and we were true. There was a little private gate, a little wicket gate. The wizened warder led them through. Oh, then our maze of tunnel stone grew thin and treacherous as air. The cast was lost without a groan, the famous citadel overthrown, and all its secret galleries bare. How can this shameful tale be told? I will maintain until my death. We could do nothing being sold. Our only enemy was cold, and we had no arms to fight it with. All through that summer at ease we lay. So throughout the summer at ease means less strict. We lay means we put everything down. So all through the summer we were less strict and put everything down. We here refers to the soldiers. Once again I repeat, we here refers to the soldiers. And daily from the turret wall. What is meant by a turret wall? Turret wall, a small tower on top of a castle. As you can see in the picture, it's a round wall. So all through that summer at ease we lay, and daily from the turret wall we watched the mowers in the hay. What is the meaning of a mower? Mowers means grass cutters, people who trim the grass. So the people who cut grass and they put the grass under the sun. Hay, you can see in the picture, hay is a dried grass. And the enemy half a mile away, they seemed no threat to us at all. So the enemies are half a mile away, and those enemies seemed no threat to them, to those soldiers at all. So from the first stanza, so the soldiers were relaxed and stress-free in summer. So every day they watched the people who cut the grass in the hay. The enemies were half a mile away, which means they were not too far, but those soldiers had no problems with those enemies. In other words, the soldiers of the castle were totally stress-free and relaxed. They were confident of their castle's physical strength. Through the turrets, they were able to watch the mowers, and no enemy was found up to the distance of half a kilometer, and so they seemed no threat to the castle. Second stanza, page number 19 again. For what we thought had we to fear? With our arms and provender load on load, our towering battlements tire on tire, and friendly allies drawing near on every leafy summer road. So explanation of the second stanza. For what we thought had we to fear? So they are asking a question. Why should they be afraid of the enemies with our arms and provender? Arms means weapons and provender means food. With the arms and provender, which means weapons and food, load on load. Our towering battlements means openings to shoot the enemies. Tier on tier, which means one above the other. And friendly allies drawing near. The meaning of friendly allies is supporting nations or armed forces. They were drawing near on every leafy summer road. So, in the second stanza, the soldier says that they had plenty of weapons to protect them and a large quantity of ration in stock to take care of the well being of the soldiers inside the castle. Their soldiers stood one above the other on the towering, watching to shoot the enemy at sight. And also, their friends were near, and it was a leafy summer. I hope you understood the second stanza. So far, we have finished two stanzas. Shall we move on to the third one? Page number 19 again. Third, our gates were strong, our walls were thick, so smooth and high, no man could win a foothold there. No clever trick could take us dead or quick, only a bird could have got in. So, explanation. So, their gates were so strong, their walls were thick. You might have seen a fort or a castle. So the gates were strong and the walls were thick. So smooth and high. So those gates and walls were so smooth and high, no man could win, which means no man could enter a foothold there. No man could enter into the castle. No clever trick could take us dead or quick. Only a bird could have got in. So, no clever trick could take them dead or alive. Only a bird could have got in. The third stanza of the poem describes why the soldiers need not worry about the threats around them. They were confident. The gates of the fort were strong and the fort walls were thick and tall. No enemy could scale them or break them. No trick could help them to enter the fort. In fact, only a bird could reach within the fort. So, page number 19, fourth stanza. What could they offer us for bait? Our captain was brave and we were true. There was a little private gate, a little wicket gate. The wizened warder led them through. What could they offer us for bait? Bait. What does mean by bait? Something intended to entice someone to do something. So, what could the enemy give us? Our captain was brave and we were true, which means everyone was true. So, there was a little private gate, a little wicket gate. So, that is called as a wicket gate. Wicked, wicked. Wicked means evil or morally wrong. Wicket gate means a small gate. wicket. Wicket gate means a small gate. So there was a little private gate. It's a wicket gate. The wizened warder led them through. The wizened means very old. Warder is in charge of the prison. The old warder led them through the wicket gate. What could the enemy give the soldiers? The captain was brave and the soldiers were honest. Everyone was true. But there was a separate gate. It was the dangerous small gate. The old man, the warder, opened the small gate and let the enemies in. Do you understand the fourth stanza? Shall we move on to the fifth one? Oh, then our maze of tunneled stone grew thin and treacherous as air. The cause was lost without a groan, the famous citadel overthrown, and all its secret galleries bare. So, what is the meaning of maze? So, you can see in the first line, oh, then our maze of tunneled stone. What is meaning of maze? Maze is a winding, intricate, confusing path, and treacherous, which means disloyal. Tunneled stone is a long route underground, and it's a very difficult long route. Oh, then our maze of tunneled stone means it's a difficult long route. Grew thin and treacherous as air. So, the difficult long route, which was very difficult to travel, became very less difficult like airs. So, it was so easy to travel now because the old warder led the enemies in through the wicket gate. So the cause was lost without a groan, the famous citadel overthrown, and all its secret galleries bare. The cause was lost without a groan. Groan means cry or a sound. The cause, the reason. The castle was lost. Here the soldier says that the castle was lost without a cry, without a sound. The famous citadel. The famous citadel here refers to the castle. The famous citadel. What is a citadel? A safe and strong fort was lost without a groan, and all its secret galleries bare. Galleries mean secret buildings, bare means nothing, and all its secret buildings becomes nothing. The famous citadel overthrown and all its secret galleries bare. The strong castle was overthrown by the enemies and all its secret buildings becomes nothing. The fifth stanza stands in quite contrast to the safety of the citadel. Betrayal of a soldier who sold himself to the enemies for gold changed the entire scene. The strong fort described earlier fell to the enemies, even without any resistance or groan. The soldiers fled the fort when the enemy was let in through a wicket gate. The secret galleries, full of soldiers, looked bare. Do you understood the fifth stanza, students? Shall we move on to the next one? And the last one. How can this shameful tale be told? I will maintain until my death. We could do nothing being sold. Our only enemy was gold, and we had no arms to fight it with. So, the famous castle, the strong and safe fort was conquered and defeated. And how can this shameful tale, how could the soldier tell this shameful story to others? The betrayal story to others. Because of the soldier, that wizened old soldier, the wizened man, old man, he led the enemies through the wicket gate, and this, according to him, is a shameful story. And how can he say this shameful story to others? And he won't. He will maintain until his death. And he says that I will maintain until my death. I won't reveal this secret to anyone. We could do nothing being sold. So they could not do anything because they were sold for gold. Our only enemy was gold. So enemy Their only enemy was gold, and we had no arms. Arms here refers to the weapons to fight it with. In this stanza, the narrator lamented over the disloyalty of the useless warder and also decided not to disclose this shameful story to anyone. He was helpless and wondered how he would keep this truth to himself. He regretted not finding any enemy to fight with but called gold. Their only enemy was gold. With this, the poem ends. The Castle by Edwin Muir. Now take page number 21. Page number 21. Number 2. Read the poem again and complete the summary using the words given in box. Try to find out the answer yourself and check with the answers. Now I am going to read the paragraph with the answers. The Castle by Edwin Muir is a moving poem on the capture of a well-guarded castle. The soldiers of the castle were totally stress-free and relaxed. They were confident of their castle's physical strength. Through the turrets, they were able to watch the mowards, and no enemy was found up to the distance of half a kilometer, and so they seemed no threat to the castle. They had plenty of weapons to protect them and a large quantity of rations in stock to take care of the well-being of the soldiers inside the castle. The soldiers stood one above the other on the towering, watching to shoot the enemy at sight. They believed that the castle was absolutely safe because their captain was brave and the soldiers were loyal. Second one, stanza 4 to 6. Even by trick, no one but the birds could enter. The enemy could not use a weapon for their entry inside the castle. But there was a wicket gate guarded by a wicket guard. He let in the enemies inside the famous citadel that had been known for its secret gallery and intricate path. The strong castle became weak and thin because of the greedy, disloyal warder. The citadel was captured by the enemies for gold. The narrator lamented over the disloyalty of the useless warder and also decided not to disclose this shameful story to anyone. He was helpless and wondered how he would keep this truth to himself. He regretted not finding any enemy to fight with, the bait called gold. God Sees the Truth But Waits, written by Leo Tolstoy. Here is a story about faith, forgiveness, freedom, and acceptance of a young merchant named Axiano who was sent to prison for a crime he didn't commit. Ivan Dmitrich Axiano. Axiano is the protagonist of The God Sees the Truth But Waits. At the outset of the story, he is a youthful and prosperous merchant in the town of Vladimir, Russia, where he lives with his wife and children. Axiano's wife, a minor character, Axiano's wife plays an important role at the beginning of the story. When her husband prepares to go to the Nizhny Fair, which means exhibition center in town, she warns him of a bad dream she had and begs him not to go. Makar Semyonich. The villain of the story, Makar Semyonich, first appears as a fellow prisoner in Siberia. Axiano discovers that Semyonich is the man who killed the merchant and framed Axiano for the crime. God sees the truth but waits. In Russia during 19th century, a young attractive businessman named Ivan Dmitrich Axiano lived with his wife and children. Although he had been a bit wild in his youth, he had now settled down and lived a responsible and productive life. One day, he decided to make a trip to a fair where he could sell some of his merchandise. He decided to make a trip to a fair. Fair here refers to exhibition where he could sell some of the merchandise. Merchandise here refers to goods. Although his wife had had a bad dream about this trip, Axiano decided to proceed. On the way, he stopped at an inn, a kind of hotel, where he met another merchant, a person he knew. They decided to stay at the inn in the rooms next to one another. The next morning, he proceeded on his way. After traveling 25 miles, however, he was stopped by a local police officer who questioned him closely about the time he had spent at the inn. It turned out that the other merchant had been found with his throat slit open, and Axiano seemed a likely suspect since he knew the man and since their rooms had been adjacent. Axiano vehemently denied any involvement in the murder. However, when his bags were checked, a bloody knife was found. Although Axiano protested his innocence, he was arrested and charged with the murder. Even his wife wondered if he might have been involved since the circumstantial evidence was so striking. After being severely flogged, flog here refers to punished, he was sent to work in the mines in Siberia. During his 26 years of imprisonment there, his hair turned white, his happy go lucky personality disappeared, and his body began to weaken. He never showed any signs of happiness and he frequently prayed to God. While imprisoned, he became a bootmaker, thus earning enough money to buy a book called The Lives of the Saints. He read this book whenever possible. On Sundays, he took a prominent role in the religious services and he sang in the choir of the prison church. The wardens and the guard appreciated his humility, his humbleness, and the other prisoners regarded him with respect, calling him grandfather and the saint. When a new shipment of prisoners arrived one day, Axiano eventually realized that one of the men, Maka, was from his own hometown. In response to Axiano's questions, Makar informed the old man that Axiano's family was prosperous. Makar seemed to know Axiano somehow, leading the latter to wonder if Makar knew anything about the murder of the merchant. Makar's reply led Axiano to begin to suspect that it was Makar who had in fact committed the crime. Makar ignored the accusation. Axiano had caught Makar trying to dig a tunnel to escape the prison. Axiano could easily have reported this deed to the authorities, but he chose to keep quiet even after Makar threatened him. When the tunnel was eventually discovered, no one would identify Makar as the culprit who had been doing the digging. Even Axiano, who was closely questioned by the governor of the prison because the governor knew that his testimony would be honest, denied knowing who had been digging. He did not want to see Makar harshly punished and even began to wonder if he had wrongly suspected Makar of murdering the merchant. Last paragraph. Later that night, Makar came to Axiano's bed and begged the old man for forgiveness. He confessed that he had indeed killed the merchant and had hidden the bloody knife in Axiano's belongings. He offered to confess to this crime so that Axiano could be released from prison and go back to his home and family. Makar continued to beg Axiano for forgiveness, especially since Axiano had not revealed what he knew about Makar and the tunnel. Both men were soon weeping, and Axiano said, God will forgive you. Maybe I am 100 times worse than you. Having said this, he suddenly felt unburdened and no longer cared about leaving prison. He only desired death. Makar did eventually confess to having killed the merchant, but by the time Axiano's pardon arrived, he was already deceased. With this, the summary of God sees the truth but waits ends. I hope you have understood the story. Study well. Thank you.